Welcome to this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Aaron French, psychic medium, Akashic reader, and spiritual practitioner for over 30 years. Welcome to the show, Aaron.
It's great to be here. Thank you.
You are welcome. Welcome to the show, Aaron. Welcome to India in this online form. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people across the world will benefit from what we are going to talk right now. We'll learn from you about unlocking spiritual awakening. We'll learn about all this, but let's first learn a bit more about you, your journey, your background, so that people learn a bit more about who they are listening to.
Perfect. Yeah. So I have been on the spiritual path for, like 30 plus years of I was a scientist early in life, and I was just pulled to knowing that there was something more. So at first I was an ecologist. I lived in the jungle and I studied birds and monkeys, and I just would connect deeper and deeper. And I was pulled thereafter, after I left the forest, to start studying with various masters in different traditions. I studied with a Shivite Tantra teacher for a while. I studied with a Taoist teacher for many years, and other teachers just appeared in my life. And through that, over many years, I just slowly awakened to a deeper and deeper experience of what this universe is and has to offer us.
Yeah. Right, Aaron. So you talked about that there is something more. You said, yes. And even science is looking for that there is so much more. Where is, as a scientist long back said, where is everybody? Meaning that there are so many other civilizations down there. So what do you mean by there is something more? Help us understand about this.
Absolutely. Like I used to study birds and know everything there was to know from observing them from the outside. And now I know that everything on Earth and also beyond Earth, everything is alive. Everything has vibrational frequency and everything can communicate with us. So now I know, for example, even on this limited level, that when I speak to the birds now and communicate with them on an energetic level, I know more about them than I ever did when I knew everything about them as a scientist. But even beyond that, right, our five senses are limited into what they can experience here on Earth. And we have our energy bodies, which can connect to levels of all the things here on Earth and talk to trees and the rocks and the birds, but also all the realms of experience beyond this physical realm. So on a daily basis, I speak with people's ancestors, people who have passed away. I speak with spirit guides and angels of all different traditions and types. And I speak with, if they wish, I speak with gods and goddesses if they wish to communicate their messages to me, as well as receive information from frequencies of information, one of which is the Akashic records, where all information across time exists now because there also is no time, right? All time is now. Everything is in this present moment. We only experience it in this linear way. And science is proving this on a daily basis, right? There's a scientist from MIT who published a book that our mind is a time machine and creates time for us, creates the illusion of time. But actually the mind has multiple centers of time which perceive it differently, right? That's one example of like, we perceive time and we can all agree, okay, here's this modern clock. Here's this way that we can all agree to come together. But in reality, time is this fluid, silly putty-like substance that we can stretch, we can shift, we can move through it as we wish once we realize that we are part of this greater whole. Yeah.
Right, Aaron. Right. So if I understand, we are just one version of ourselves who is on this earth. That's the physical version.
Right. Yeah.
That there are many other versions of our own self. If I understand
true.
that, help us understand that. What does that mean? Means because if we are connected to so many things, then obviously it cannot happen in vacuum, and that connection has to be with something else. So either we are the most advanced version, or we are only one version of ourselves, and then the connection happens through our own advanced versions. That is the higher self and higher self and higher self. So help us understand a bit about who we are.
I love the way you phrase that, right? So yes, of course. So there's only one. We are all united. But when we're all one, our soul, in whatever language you want to say this, but our soul, when it's all one, cannot experience the beauty of life because it's only one thing. So the soul chooses like to come to this earth realm specifically so that we can be separated and experience the separation and the infinite variation of all things that we experienced here as separate individual small pieces cut off from the source, cut off from the infinite, cut off from the oneness. And our life journey, our path in life, even through all our hardship, through all our experiences, is to find our way back to the oneness. And for some of us who are on the spiritual path, this might happen during our lifetimes here on earth. And that's called the spiritual journey and awakening. And for other people, and it's okay too, these are choices that our soul makes before we get here. For other folks, it doesn't happen on earth, but it does happen in death when they pass back into the infinite void and then merge again with all things. So everyone re-experiences the one, but we're separate to be able to see ourselves again through new eyes. And there's a joy, there's like a rapture, there's this ecstasy which we experience when we connect back with all things once we feel so separate. It's an experience that I'm shown by my guides that doesn't happen in other realms across the universes that exist.
Absolutely, Aaron. So, getting cut off from the source, the oneness,
Yeah.
is it a boon or is it a curse? How
Yeah.
should we look at it?
I love it. If we, for those of us who choose to step onto the path with courage, with awakening, with our heart forward, who are choosing to grow, it's absolutely a boon, right? It's because of that cutoffness that we get to feel the joy of reconnection. So this boon, and even all of our hardships along the path, all of the traumas we've experienced, all of the shadow that we have to work through, these are all ways that this universe is pointing us towards the direction of freedom. And all of those hardships, all of those traumas actually create little trapdoor shortcuts, which allow us to move straight into that freedom if we so choose. They allow us to move into that. All of these hardships, being cut off from the source and feeling all the separation and all the trauma in that, is absolutely a boon without question.
Right. If it's a boon, then why did we take so long, or why do we take so long to understand ourselves, to awaken? Some
Yeah,
people talk about spiritual awakening, some people talk about now the mass awakening on this planet,
yeah,
and some people never wake up. They keep on talking about awake, woke, and so many other things, to help us understand this awakening in that sense of, of our whole mission on this whole planet.
yeah. Every tradition that I'm aware of, every tradition has this idea of cycles of time, and there are cycles of deeper connection where more people on earth, more of the energies on earth are awakened and connected and radiating with the joy of all things. And there are deep cycles in time across all traditions where we're cut off more. So just as we go through our individual journey of awakening and connecting to all things, the earth itself, this universe, this realm, also goes through these cycles of time. And in the cycles of time, there are periods of connection and periods of disconnection. And in many, many traditions, right? In many traditions, including the kalpas in the Vedic traditions broadly, are showing us that we are moving or have moved, depending on exactly the timeline of who you're listening to. We either have moved or are moving right now into this new era of awakening and expansion and connection. And we're leaving behind or have left behind the period of disconnection and dissolution. And so we're moving into this new era, again, across many traditions across the globe. And in this new era, there's this mass awakening where more and more of us are waking up. So I'm talking to people who are younger in their 20s, even teens, and I work with them, and they're being born now into an era where they're feeling these awake vibrations and don't have the feeling of separation that I grew up with or my parents did, right? There's a much lighter vibration on earth now than there was 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago. It's changing rapidly in my experience. And I'm experiencing very rapidly this year in 2024, and then in the movement into 2025, where we're all being called into our deeper alignment. We're all being called to fall into what we know is our soul's path in our core, and this will help us to live a happier, more aligned life with fewer problems, fewer issues, fewer struggles, because we're on the path that is meant for us with the energies of the earth supporting us.
So what does that mean? A lot of mass awakening. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? People
Yeah.
realize. Do we will we forget our whole mission about being born on this earth as humans? I want to
Yeah.
understand. Or is it that even the earth, not only the earth, but even the heavens and the skies and the universe is getting overpopulated, and they are all descending down on earth, and this is leading to mass awakening. Help us
Yeah.
understand this.
I love this. Well, one thing I'm shown by my spirit guides, by all the beings that I speak to, is that there's a waiting list of souls wanting to come to Earth. So there's not a mass overcrowding anywhere, but that there is a desire from many, many souls wanting to be here now at this time, wanting to be here on Earth to feel the separation and to experience this shift which we're going through right now. The last shift, depending on the tradition, but it was countless generations ago, before modern history really existed. And so it's this revival of this shift of awakening that's occurring, and all the souls want to be here right now, which is why I'm shown there's so many people on earth right now, because we want to be here. So is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? I mean, I'll back up and just say what I'm shown in my experience is that the universe itself is inherently neutral. These words good and bad are very respectfully small human ways of trying to make sense of the flow of experience. And the universe itself holds experience vastly. Everything is possible, but it's what's happening. And we won't forget, because this is what's happening in the time now, where the earth itself and the energies of this whole realm are lifting us up, connecting us deeper with our heart space. And as we connect with our heart space, we know this connection with all things exists, because that's where we connect through in our energy bodies. And it's a beautiful thing of flourishing and harmony and peace. What's coming, we're still in this period of transition, and in this period of transition, there's turmoil and change and disruption of the old ways, and this can be difficult in the shorter term. But that doesn't mean globally that it's a bad thing. It just means short term. Sometimes there's some hardship to get through to this new level of joy and expansion and peace. Yeah.
Right, Aaron. So, in these times when many and millions of people are experiencing this awakening first time in their life,
Yes.
how should they experience this? What is the best way to do? Because it's like leaving a child in a chocolate store, a candy store.
Yeah.
Which is the best place to go for the child? We are all child in that sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a beautiful question, because, in the olden days were even like in the days of my parents and, and beyond, the spiritual awakening was a rare thing. And we have all these books for generations that gave us these icons of these lone masters in the mountains in a cave by themselves. And then everyone else was down in the village and didn't have the connection to spirit, right? That's the old tale. That's not true anymore. That tale is not how we are. So, but the teachings that we've received and have been passed through the ages are still incredibly valuable, right? Incredibly valuable. So sitting with a teacher or a mentor in some way and just receiving some guidance that, all day, every day I work with people. And so often, the question I receive is like, I'm feeling this impulse towards spirit, towards creativity, towards connection. Am I crazy? Am I crazy for feeling this way? I get this again and again and again by so many people, and the answer is just like a lot of the role in this piece of spiritual mentoring is just reassuring, no, what you're experiencing is real. And this is the way to maybe stabilize it. Here's some tools to support you in that. So finding a teacher, maybe, or a mentor who can support someone just in acknowledging that this is real and this is how it is in this new level is really useful. And in addition, nature is an amazing, wonderful teacher. There's no secret to why the masters of old would go and be in nature and sit by themselves, because the nature, the trees, the rocks, the water, the wind, the sky are all of our teachers. And what I'm shown is that they're all rising up to speak to us, to communicate with us, not with words per se, but with energetic messages to show us how to behave, to show us right behavior, to show us and teach us how our energy can harmonize on these new frequencies. And so nature as well is continually rising to be a greater and greater teacher for so many people and a deep influence. So I also just advise people everywhere across the world to get out in nature, get to a park, touch a tree, sit by a stream, look at the sky, wherever you are, there's nature all around, even in a busy city. Go to a tree or a small park and just touch a leaf and connect with that. That's everywhere, no matter how busy the city is. So those are two ways. But the old ways, the teachings, the ancient books as well, they're so full of wisdom. And so many of them, my teachers used to say that they were open secrets, all the classic books. And, we can read them from a place of strict obedience to maybe the words on the page, or we could read them with a openness to the mystery that they're showing us. And increasingly, I encourage people to read these classic texts, these texts of wisdom, and just read beneath the words to the energy and the spirit that comes through, and that will be the deepest teacher that's possible.
Right, right. So, Aaron, you talk about non-duality.
Yes.
In Hinduism, there is a lot of mention about this.
Yes.
So, and that we are connected to everything.
Yes.
And if we are connected to so many things, how should we connect with ourselves?
Mm-hmm.
Because if it will take away our focus. What is the best way to connect with ourselves? Should we look inward? Should we look outward? Should we look at what are these connections for? And then how do we focus on ourselves with all these connections? Is it again a distraction to see how far we can withstand all those connections, or is it a boon for us to understand at the right time?
So things shift a little bit, maybe a lot, as we move deeper into our spiritual awareness. So if we're in, and I'll just use air quotes because we're all one thing again, I just want to remind us there's nowhere to go except for here. But for air quotes, if we're at, quote, a lower phase of vibration, a lower spiritual level, we might perceive the vastness of the world to be a distraction because it's all separate from us. But as we deepen into our heart and connect from a deep heart space and merge into non-duality and stabilize that, we realize that because everything is connected, then it's all us anyway. So there's no distraction to connect with everything because it's already in us. And so it's just a shift of perception that shifts as we sort of open up into the universe. So as we open up into the universe, nothing changes, right? There's the old saying in Zen, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water, and after enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. Nothing changes. We still need to do the tasks, the daily tasks of life to keep ourselves warm and have water to drink and bathe in. But how we perceive that journey is entirely separate. And so because it's already all in us, there's nothing to do that doesn't naturally arise and become manifest just through the being. Yeah, there's no distractions in the non-duality with the everything because it's so held within us that there's nothing to distract from.
Right. How should we connect with our ancestors when they are so closer to Earth in today's time? Are they here for their own, you can say, moksha, as we call in India, nirvana, or
Yes.
or is it that we should seek something from them? What is this whole phenomena that is happening at the moment? How do you look at? You have connected with your own ancestors. What
Yes.
have they told you? What is it that they want? We normally think now they are away from all these things. They are in their different world.
But this is how I'm shown this question. The answer to this question is that the ones that are very close, and there are many of them right now that are very close, are here hanging around us for two reasons. One, because they want to support those of us in their lineage that are still on Earth. And so there are some ancestors that truly are here to be helpful guides to us and support us energetically and beam us love and connection and guidance from a good way. And there are also so many ancestors that lived their life in an unfulfilled way and passed away without feeling complete with their task on Earth. And so there are many ancestors, I work with this every single day, where I'm seeing people in my own self as well, my grandfather, my great grandmother, where they felt incomplete and were trying to influence me in my life so that they could feed off the energy and complete their own karmas and their life through me. And so I really deeply encourage a couple things. One is to really deeply, in whatever way, with a picture or just a poem or just memory in your heart, honor your ancestors, especially on, special holidays for your tradition, wherever you are in the world. Honor and praise, and just with a little prayer, give thanks to your ancestors and honor their role in bringing you here forward. Right? We wouldn't be here without all of those who brought us here through their lineage. We're entirely here because of them. And so honor them with prayer and thanks, and then ask them gently to go away. Really, we're better off. Ask them gently to go away into the universe and resolve into the all. Even if they're here out of love, we're more free. We are more free when they're resolved and sort of go back and leave us gently alone. So they're not all good or bad, but some of them do absolutely want us to behave as they want us to behave. And for those ones, by honoring, doing some prayers, maybe an offering of some food and incense, or just open our heart with thanks and just ask them, please, to pass on. And they will honor that, because our intention and will is so much stronger than theirs can be as a ghost, as a ghost in this realm, not fully resolved back into the fullness of spirit. Yeah, that's how I'm showing this works.
Right, Aaron. Let's now talk of Akashic records. Nowadays, there is a lot of talk on Akashic records.
Yes. Yes.
And like we thought there was only this Google Cloud, Apple Cloud. Now we understand there is God's cloud also. But this can this be corrupted? Can this be hacked into? What is this Akashic record, to be understand from a common person's perspective?
Yeah, I mean, so the way I love to, and the way I experience it as well, really, is that, from one perspective, again, so all time is now, right? Time is a perception, and then everything is a frequency. Everything is a vibration, right? There's energy and vibration, and that energy and frequency and vibration has information. And so our lives and the lives of our ancestors and the lives of everyone throughout time is all happening now at these different vibrational levels. And that somehow is stored or just held in the matrix of, I see it as, I don't think this is literal. This is how I see it energetically, is that there's a frequency band in the realms beyond Earth wherein that information exists. And so many people call it a library, and there's a storehouse and storekeepers. And I think that's all reasonable and true from one perspective. I see it simply as a vibrational frequency band, and I tune the radio for each person and can pull down all the information. So can it be hacked? Sure, everyone can access it. But it cannot be hacked in the sense of like modified or twisted or used in any way, because it's just information that's there, and any modification that we would try to do would actually modify it for the person that's trying to do the modifying. It wouldn't affect me in any possible way. So it would only impact their energetic sense if they had some negative, nefarious view on this. But all the information across all time for everyone that's ever lived or ever will live in the future, it's all here for us. And all the past lives, all of their karmas, all of their soul purposes for when they come into this world, it's all here to be read and communicated for everyone if they wish. It's all here.
It's all here. Absolutely. There is so much to learn from you about all these things, Aaron. And I'm sure a lot can be also learned from your program, Unlocking the Secrets of the Golden Flower. Tell us a bit about your program. What can people learn from it?
Thank you so much. So The Secret of the Golden Flower is a Taoist text out of China about 200 years ago, which is very, very, very modern in the Taoist timeline. So at the time was a synthesis of this is everything you need to know about this Taoist path for unlocking the golden flower, which is a way to say enlightenment, moving into non-duality, the flowering of the heart. And so we're going to be taking a several month journey, deep dive into the meditations, the philosophy. We'll do transmissions of non-duality, and we'll practice together these techniques that are worked through in this book. And the techniques in the book, you could just pick up the book and do it yourself. But actually, as I mentioned, there are these open secrets of mystery. So it's this deep dive over months into a really step-by-step plan to learn what the depths of ourselves are and our soul is in connection with all things. that's the intention of this course. And anyone who has a deep desire to meditate, to learn about themselves, to deepen their spiritual practice, to gain some happiness in this start of 2025, I deeply recommend it.
Wonderful. As I said, there is much to learn and understand from you about
Thank
all
you.
these things, about the universe, about records, Akashic records, about non-duality, and about ourselves. So those people who would want to connect with you, learn more from you, learn more from our program, what's the best way to do so?
So there's two ways. My website is naturalheartalchemy.com. You can find information there, and also on Instagram, it's at Natural Heart Alchemy, all one word. So on Instagram, Natural Heart Alchemy, or my website, all the information is there. And I look forward to meeting any and all of you who are called to connect.
Wonderful. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you. What a joy. Thank you. It's great to be here.